Hello, and welcome to Creating a Performance. Today we are diving into the creation of my client Constance Wu's performance in Warner Brothers' 2018 romantic comedy, Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians is based on the global best-selling book by Kevin Kwan, which follows native New Yorker Rachel Chu to Singapore to meet her boyfriend's very wealthy family. The film was directed by John M. Chu and starred Henry Golding, Awkwafina, and Constance, who was cast in the lead role of Rachel, a New York University professor of economics whose area of expertise comes into play when she is introduced to her boyfriend's surprisingly mega-rich family. When Constance and I sat down to work on the creating of this performance, we initially focused on her character, Rachel Chu's, history and background. This broke down into three parts. First was the fact that Rachel is a native New Yorker. She was raised by a single mother, and we did a character history on what it would mean to be an Asian American from a single-parent family in New York City, the hardships, the financial struggles that she and her mother would have experienced to achieve a good education. In fact, eventually becoming an economics professor at NYU. Rachel also focuses on games and gaming to elucidate her lessons with her college students. This is an important plot point that returns at the climax of the film. Constance investigated all of this for weeks prior to filming. Secondly, we focused on Rachel's relationship with her longtime boyfriend, Nick Young. We knew this was the very heart of the film, and therefore I had Constance create an in-depth history of Rachel and Nick's relationship. Where did they meet? What was their first date? What was it that makes Nick so special? What is the unique bond that they share that makes them a successful couple? We had to make their love a rock-solid reality that no amount of maternal manipulation could damage. Thirdly, we thought it was important to hold the Asian American experience as a major character point. Rachel is challenged when in Asia by the large portion of the population who treat her like a, quote, banana, unquote, a crass term that is actually used as a derogatory name for Asian Americans, meaning yellow on the outside, white on the inside. Not kind. After we established those important character history points, we worked our way through my Archibald questions. 20 questions I suggest all my clients ask about their characters and scripts before they ever audition or go in front of the cameras. By the way, these questions are available in my book, The Actor's Mindset, from Applause Theater and Cinema Books, available on Amazon and Goodreads and Audible. But the questions are basic method questions, such as, who is my character? What are the traps that might get me caught acting? What is my character's motivation? What are my character's secrets? Good, fun, deep background analysis. It's important to remember that answering the questions is only the first step of the process. After answering them, my actors then do a substitution or as if that personalizes the answers so that my artists feel the reality of their character's life circumstances in their hearts and bellies. This is directly from Konstantin Stanislavski's methodology, which most actors use worldwide to connect to their truth that their characters are experiencing. What a substitution does when it is done successfully is pull the work from the brain into the heart and gut. It makes performance go from being smart to being heart, and heart is what art is all about. This is also covered in my book if you are looking for more information. Also, I have created something here that we call the Archibald Workbook. It's essentially a blank book that we fill up with the answers to the questions, but we do it for every scene of the film so that we create a kind of Bible or guidebook before my client ever steps foot on the soundstage. It's a way of making certain you are prepared as best you can and that you have a way to arc your performance, to incorporate the plot turns and character growth. I'm proud of this book and the rewards my clients have received by doing such intense preparation for the roles they play. As we worked through the Archibald Workbook for Rachel Chu, Constance was able to see the changes and challenges that Rachel incurs and was able to then arc her performance so it wasn't a one-note whine, but rather a complicated and nuanced performance, heart-driven and smart. Setting up these great background character pillars allowed Constance to simply respond truthfully as Rachel to the great fun of the Asian characters she meets on her journey to Singapore and the differences she discovers between the Asian and American cultures. I remember one of the challenges Constance had with the script was that she didn't have many of the jokes. When she complained to me that Rachel isn't funny, I reminded her that as the lead character in the movie, Rachel is the every person. Now, the every person is a character that an audience relates to and is how and who they experience the movie through. In Crazy Rich Asians, the audience sees the movie through Rachel's eyes. Therefore, it wasn't Constance's job to be funny. It was her job to be a real person going through a real situation. The audience walked with her through Rachel's trials with the comic and evil characters, and Constance's steady North Star performance is a large part of why the film was such a success. And what a success it was. Crazy Rich Asians was the worldwide box office winner, landing at #1 for 3 weeks straight in the late summer of 2018. What an amazing accomplishment. At the center of that success is Constance's beautiful work. I'm particularly proud of her work in the wedding scene, in the mahjong scene, and the delightful climax as they board the airplane home to America. If you haven't seen Crazy Rich Asians, I definitely suggest you take the time to make some popcorn, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy the fun of an international romance that I guarantee will make you smile and possibly even cry a little. Thanks for joining us on Creating a Performance.